Hello future people, welcome to Getting Tabled. I'm Jason the Bruce, and today we're unboxing a hell of a big laser. The Aegis Defence Laser. This is one of those kits that most Dropzone players, hell, Drop Fleet players look at and go, I really want one of these. And to be fair, I have been one of those people for a long time. This is not mine. This was actually purchased in a group buy by one of our local players, because we're starting to fire back up again. And he's been wanting one of these for a while, and he took the opportunity to grab one when I made my order recently. So, thank you very much to John for allowing me to unbox this on the channel. I do appreciate it. It was an offer from him, not something that I had asked. So today, we're going to have a look at one of those kits that everybody kind of wants. Alright, so here we go with the Aegis Defence Laser. And first things first, I really do love these new Dropzone boxes. They just look so much nicer than the old ones. It just looks really nice. There it is again, a lovely big look at the actual laser itself. Used in abundance on the UCMF starships, the Aegis Defence Laser is able to shoot down incoming munitions with ease. This massive scenery set makes a great centerpiece for your Dropzone commander board. The Aegis Defence Laser is the same as the tiny point defence lasers you see on Drop Fleet commander ships, which really puts the scale of these two into perspective, of these two games into perspective. So when they're saying that, they're talking about like the not the turrets, the tiny little ones that you see on the ships. With an armoured door that swings open, it even makes a great garrison for your games. So, looking forward to getting into this. Let's do that. And on the inside, it's the same box that we are all very familiar with. A lot of weight in this too, because this is all resin. Alright, so first things first, getting a look from the top. This is all nice and smooth. A little bit of mold, a little bit of mold release you can still see around there. You're definitely going to want to scrub this, but casting is all nice and clear. Detail on the sides here is lovely as well. Little bit of cleanup that needs to be done around some of it, but this is actually pretty good, especially for a resin cast. I have touched on this before, but you'll quite often see different gradings and different colours underneath a resin cast. So this is what would normally be the top of the cast, because it would be moulded this way. And you will quite often see some separation in the two parts here. It's nothing that you need to be alarmed about. It's nothing unusual. It's a fairly normal part of the process. All right. So, yeah, that's four of the same thing. Detail on these, again, is just absolutely phenomenal. It's really nice. Couple of little holes underneath here. Thankfully, they're underneath. So, again, this is the top of the mould. So, because they're underneath, you're not going to have any issues. There's no warping or anything there as well, which is nice. And they will fit there, pretty much flush. So, yep, that works pretty well. This kind of looks like a joystick. Get there with my Switch and I'll start playing with my brand new Joy-Con. So, this is one really big piece of resin. I really like this. The hex on the top there is a nice touch. A little bit of wash to bring out the detail on that. It doesn't show on camera super well, just because if I put it on the reflection in the light, you can see it. but it's quite fine detail. But that will pop quite nicely with a little bit of wash. An oil wash on that and then dab off the excess. You could use a regular wash as well. It's probably a little bit too fine to get it to come out with... I don't think you're really going to get it to come out with a regular, with dry brushing or anything. Looks like we have a little bit of slippage in the mould here, maybe? No, it's just a mould line. No, there's no slippage. It's just a mould line. Goes directly across the vent there, but thankfully it doesn't seem to cause any issues. Little bit of cleanup that needs to be done in between those two fins there. That's probably the worst of it. And nice big chunk there for the gate. Thankfully it's in a nice flat area, so it'll be nice and easy to file that down. So that, in theory, would go in here. I think we've got one on the other side, so just goes in there like that, because you're pointing it up at the sky. It's not. No, there is a little bit of play there, which is nice. It does fit better like that, but it still works all the way around. You can't put it like that very well. It does need to be here. My preference would be to angle it a little bit, because having a laser that's going directly up through the atmosphere doesn't make a lot of sense to me, because, well, it looks kind of boring. I don't know, just on an angle makes it look a little bit more threatening to me. I really like that. Now, the actual detail of the mount itself. Again, some nice panel lining in there. A little bit of texture here on the side. It's a little, I don't know how well it's going to show, but there is actually a little bit of texture there in the panels. It's not pure and flat, which is an interesting look. This is, it's just here. Yeah, so this is all fairly flat here. Oh, well, there's detail, but there's no super texture here. But there is here, which is an interesting small little choice. Now, this one is exactly the same, but for the other side. They're just mirrors of it. This one is the same, it's just the other side. They are mirrors of each other in every other aspect, which I suspect is not an accident. So, the gates are in the way, but I suspect they sit like that, because that will go in here. So there's a little ridge here on the side that will fit into that gap there. So I had a look at the pictures on the TT Combat website so that I could find out where these two pieces go. This actually sits over the top of one of the pieces here and fits absolutely perfectly. And basically what this becomes is a little bunker. So this other piece that I wasn't sure of here is a door that sits over the top of the bunker. Now, obviously I'm not going to be cutting this off because this doesn't belong to me. These are the two nubbins here on the side. Glue in these gaps here, just to allow and cover the actual work. Now, when you are gluing them, you need to be really, really careful with how much glue you use. You don't want to allow any glue to get onto this door here at all, because if you do it properly, this will actually actively move up and down on the rod. So, you want to use an absolute tiny little bit of glue on the outside here. Don't let any glue get in here, because you want to avoid squeeze out, because the very first place squeeze out's going to go is into that channel there, and then this will never move. You want this to be able to open and close. I mean, in theory, if you wanted it to be the other way, then I guess you could, but I really think you want that to be able to move as you're going. It's going to add so much more narrative ability to your games. It would be a real shame to ruin that. I would highly recommend building this as they intended it. It's just going to make it so much more interesting as a piece of terrain. Just to give you a bit of an idea at the size you're looking at, this is about 7.5 inches across, give or take. This is obviously the widest point. I mean, in theory, I guess you could argue for 8 inches that way. Depending on where you wanted to draw that line. But yeah, this is going to take up a nice, I would argue, city block on the actual size. Again, I cannot position this on camera because this kit doesn't belong to me. I'm not putting together somebody else's kit. That's not my place. So I'm going to leave all of these pieces intact as it come for John when he builds it in person. All right. So there we are. That's the Aegis Defence Laser. Thank you again for John for allowing me to open up your box and show this off on the channel. I really do appreciate that. This is really nice, and I love the idea that we're seeing things from the drop fleet world appear in Dropzone. And there's not really a lot of things lore-wise that you could do that with, which I think is an important thing. Because obviously, like, we've seen the ship size. If you haven't, go and look at the old ship that was built by Dave back in the Hawk days. He built the smallest ship in scale for Dropzone, and it was like 3 or 4 meters long. It's absolutely ridiculous. Still in the warehouses at TT Combat somewhere. But I really like this. I like this a lot. Thank you very much for checking out this video. If you're enjoying the content of this channel, please like and subscribe. If you're in a position to do so, please check out patreon.com/gettingtabled. You receive early access to at least 80% of all videos that we put out, and you get access to the video edition of all of our podcasts the day that they're uploaded. If you'd like to check us out on social media, facebook.com/gettingtabled is the most active. We also have a Discord server. You can email our team at gettingtabled@gmail.com. If you're on either Twitter or Instagram, you can find us at gettingtabled. And until next time,